Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, the possibility of ancient aliens forces us to rethink history. Are we truly alone? Or are we part of a much larger story that stretches across the universe? Next time you look at the night sky, remember, maybe, just maybe, someone has been looking back, for millions of years. Across every culture on Earth, ancient civilizations left behind stories of gods or beings who descended from the heavens. What's fascinating is that these stories come from places thousands of miles apart, from people who never met, yet they all describe the same thing: mysterious visitors from the sky who brought knowledge, power, and sometimes even fear. Let's start with the Sumerians, one of the earliest known civilizations in Mesopotamia, around 4000 BC. They wrote about the Anunnaki, powerful beings who came down from the heavens. According to their records, the Anunnaki weren't just passive gods, they actively shaped human civilization. They taught people farming, irrigation, laws, and mathematics. Some researchers argue that the sudden leap from hunter-gatherer tribes to advanced city builders in Sumer isn't a coincidence. Could it be that the Sumerians were simply recording what they witnessed? Otherworldly beings passing down knowledge that humans weren't yet ready to discover on their own? Moving east to ancient India, we find stories of Vimanas, described in sacred texts like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. These were flying chariots, sometimes shining like the sun, that roared through the skies. The texts even describe battles between these flying machines, using weapons that sound eerily like modern missiles or lasers. Thousands of years ago, how could writers have described aerial warfare unless they saw, or were told about, something similar? To skeptics, these are symbolic tales. But to believers, they're clear evidence of advanced technology witnessed by humans who lacked the vocabulary to explain it. Across the ocean, Native American tribes also speak of star people, beings who descended from the heavens to share wisdom. These beings were often described as kind teachers, guiding tribes in areas like farming, healing, and spirituality. What's intriguing is that these stories aren't isolated. Different tribes across North America, from the Lakota to the Hopi, have variations of this star people legend. How can so many cultures, separated by vast distances, tell the same type of story? Unless, of course, they were describing encounters with the same kind of visitors. Even in the Bible, we find echoes of this mystery. The book of Genesis speaks of the Nephilim, described as giants who were the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. The wording is cryptic, but many scholars and theorists wonder if it's describing something more than myth. Could sons of God have been extraterrestrials, beings from beyond Earth, who mixed with humans, creating a hybrid race remembered as giants? Now here's the key point: skeptics argue these are just myths, stories made up to explain natural phenomena or to pass down moral lessons. But what if these myths are actually memories? Imagine a tribe thousands of years ago seeing a spacecraft descend from the sky. How would they describe it? They didn't have words like rocket or aircraft. To them, it would look like a fiery chariot or a shining god. Over time, these stories would become legends. When we line up these myths side by side, from Mesopotamia to India, from the Americas to the Bible, they form a pattern that's hard to ignore. They all describe beings from the sky, beings who interacted with humans, gave knowledge, and in some cases, even shaped our destiny. It raises a powerful question: were these civilizations truly imagining gods, or were they documenting encounters with real extraterrestrial visitors, described in the only language they had at the time? Perhaps the myths of gods were never just myths. Perhaps they were history, our first encounters with ancient aliens. If aliens really did visit Earth, surely they would have left behind some kind of physical evidence. Something more than just myths and stories. And maybe, just maybe, they did. The fascinating part? This evidence might be hiding in plain sight, in the massive, mysterious structures built by ancient civilizations all around the world. Let's start with the most famous of them all, the pyramids of Giza in Egypt. These massive monuments, built over 4,500 years ago, continue to amaze architects and scientists. Each block of stone can weigh several tons, and the entire structure was assembled with breathtaking precision. The Great Pyramid itself is aligned almost perfectly with the four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. Not only that, but its placement and dimensions seem to reflect advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and even the curvature of the Earth. How did ancient Egyptians, with no cranes, no modern tools, and no advanced machinery, achieve this? Traditional archaeologists argue it was through ingenuity, manpower, and simple tools. But believers in the ancient astronaut theory ask a different question: what if they had help? What if extraterrestrial visitors shared advanced techniques or even technology to guide the construction? After all, some of the precision in the pyramid's measurements is so exact that even today's engineers struggle to replicate it. Now let's travel to Stonehenge in England, a mysterious ring of massive stones that has puzzled experts for centuries. These stones, some weighing up to 25 tons, were transported from quarries located miles away, long before the wheel was invented in Britain. The stones are arranged in a way that aligns with the summer and winter solstices, acting as a kind of ancient astronomical calendar. But who taught ancient people this precise knowledge of celestial events? And how did they manage to move and position such enormous stones with nothing but primitive tools? Some suggest it wasn't just human strength. It might have been human strength plus knowledge passed down from visitors with far greater understanding of the stars. Then there's Puma Punku, part of the ancient Tiwanaku site in Bolivia. What makes Puma Punku stand out isn't just the size of its stone blocks, it's the way they were carved. The stones feature precise cuts, perfect right angles, and interlocking shapes that fit together like puzzle pieces, all without mortar. Many of the stones are made from granite and diorite, some of the hardest rocks on Earth, which are incredibly difficult to cut even with today's diamond-tipped tools. How could a civilization over 1,000 years ago achieve such machine-like precision? For believers, the answer is simple: they didn't do it alone. And finally, let's look at the Nazca lines in Peru. These giant geoglyphs, sprawling drawings of animals, plants, and geometric shapes, were carved into the desert floor around 2,000 years ago. From the ground, they don't look like much. But from the sky, the figures become clear, stretching for miles across the desert. Which raises the big question: why would ancient people create designs that could only be fully appreciated from above, when they had no known way of flying? Some believe the Nazca lines were ritual symbols meant to be seen by the gods. But others think they might have been landing strips, navigation markers, or even messages for visitors who actually were flying above. To skeptics, all of these sites are just examples of human creativity, determination, and trial and error. But to those who believe in the ancient astronaut theory, they are far more than that. The pyramids, Stonehenge, Puma Punku, and the Nazca lines may all be breadcrumbs, clues left behind in stone, that point to a hidden chapter in human history. A chapter where advanced beings from beyond our planet didn't just visit, but actively guided the rise of civilization. The truth may be buried in dust, hidden in ruins, or lost in translation. But one thing is certain: the more we study these ancient structures, the harder it becomes to dismiss the possibility that we weren't alone when they were built. The biggest mystery of all isn't found in stone monuments or ancient ruins, it's found in us. Humans. Our very existence raises questions science still struggles to answer. Where did we come from, and why do we seem so different from every other species on Earth? Think about it. We share this planet with millions of species, animals, insects, plants, and microbes. Yet humans are unique. We build advanced technology, create complex languages, study the stars, and question our own existence. In just a few thousand years, we've gone from living in caves to sending spacecraft beyond our solar system. That's a leap unlike anything else in nature. So how did it happen? Scientists have long debated the origins of life. One fascinating idea is panspermia, the theory that life didn't actually begin on Earth at all. Instead, it may have come from somewhere else in the universe. Maybe it arrived on a meteorite, carried as microscopic bacteria. Or maybe, as some researchers suggest, it was deliberately seeded here by intelligent beings. In other words, aliens could have been the gardeners of Earth, planting the seeds of life millions, or even billions, of years ago. But the mystery doesn't stop with life's origins. Our very DNA raises questions. Inside the human genome lies a large portion scientists call junk DNA. It doesn't code for proteins, and for decades, experts thought it had no purpose. But some researchers argue otherwise. Could this so-called junk DNA actually be a kind of code, something left behind by whoever designed or accelerated our evolution? Could it be a cosmic signature, proof that our species was not the result of random chance, but of careful planning? When we compare humans to other primates, another puzzle emerges. We share about 98 to 99% of our DNA with chimpanzees, yet the gap in intelligence, language, and culture is enormous. How did such a massive difference evolve in such a short period of time? Evolution alone doesn't fully explain it. Believers in the ancient astronaut theory argue that this gap might be the result of genetic intervention. Perhaps, at some point in our past, our DNA was altered, upgraded, by advanced beings who wanted to create a species capable of thought, invention, and civilization. Interestingly, ancient myths across cultures seem to echo this idea. In Greek mythology, gods like Zeus were said to have children with human women, offspring that were part human, part divine. In the Bible, the book of Genesis speaks of the Nephilim, mysterious giants born from the union of the sons of God and the daughters of men. The Sumerians, as we saw earlier, told stories of the Anunnaki, who supposedly shaped mankind to serve them. What if these myths are not just stories, but fragmented memories of real events? Could they be ancient accounts of genetic experiments, extraterrestrial beings mixing their own DNA with ours to create a new hybrid species? If that's true, then humanity itself may be the greatest evidence of alien involvement in Earth's history. Imagine what that means. We might not just be children of Earth, we could be children of the stars. Our search for aliens out there in the universe might actually be a search for our own creators. And if that's the case, the story of humanity is far bigger, and far older, than we ever imagined. If aliens really did visit Earth in the past, one haunting question remains: did they leave? Or are they still here, quietly watching us? The mystery only deepens when we look at modern UFO sightings. For decades, people around the world, pilots, soldiers, astronauts, and ordinary citizens, have reported strange objects in the sky. These objects move at impossible speeds, make turns no aircraft can survive, and sometimes vanish in the blink of an eye. While skeptics dismiss many sightings as misidentified planes, drones, or natural phenomena, not all cases can be explained so easily. In recent years, the mystery has grown even more serious. The Pentagon and the U.S. Navy have officially released footage of what they now call unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. These videos show glowing objects darting across the sky, accelerating without visible engines, and even disappearing into the ocean. For the first time in history, governments are openly admitting they don't know what these things are. And if the most advanced militaries on Earth can't explain them, then what are we dealing with? This leads to a chilling possibility: what if these UFOs aren't new visitors at all? What if they are the same beings who came to Earth thousands, or even millions, of years ago? Maybe they never left. Maybe they've been here the whole time, hidden just out of reach, monitoring our progress like scientists studying an experiment. Some believers see them as protectors. They point out that UFO sightings often increase around times of crisis, such as during nuclear weapons tests. Could it be that these visitors are making sure we don't destroy ourselves before we're ready to join the larger universe? Some UFO researchers argue that aliens might be guiding humanity's development slowly, ensuring we advance without collapsing. But others fear a darker outcome. What if aliens are not protectors, but overseers? If they manipulated our DNA in the past, as some theories suggest, then humanity might be more of a creation, or even a project, than an independent species. And if that's true, what happens when the creators decide it's time to check in on their creation? Would they return as teachers, offering new knowledge, or as rulers, demanding obedience? The idea that they're still here isn't as far-fetched as it sounds. Consider the ocean, which covers more than 70% of Earth's surface. We've explored only a fraction of it. What if their bases aren't in the stars above, but in the deep seas below, hidden where humans rarely go? Some declassified Navy reports even describe UAPs entering and exiting the water effortlessly, as if oceans were highways to secret alien hideouts. So, have aliens been visiting Earth for millions of years? The truth remains hidden. But when we look at the myths of sky gods, the stone monuments too precise for their time, the mysteries buried in our DNA, and the unexplained light still flying above us today, one thing becomes clear: the story of humanity might not be only human at all. Perhaps the visitors are still here, waiting for the day when we're finally ready to meet them face to face.